We will now see asynchronous buses. Asynchronous buses are different from synchronous buses, and the main aspect here is there is no clock signal which gives a uniform sense of time throughout the system. So master and slave are both actually free from the timing information enforced by the clock signal. So instead of clock signal, here we have two separate signals, master ready and slave ready, which is used to coordinate the actions of master and slave in a data transfer. So if you see this case, here the transaction shown is an input operation. So it means master has asked the slave to put data on the bus so that it can read it for some use. So we will see how an asynchronous bus operates or coordinates various activities in a data transfer without the help of a clock signal. So if you see here at time t0, the master has put the address and command for the data transfer. So here the address is of the slave and command is a read command. It means the system or the master is going to read the data that is going to be generated by the slave. Okay, so that happens at t0. Then so at t0 the master puts address and command onto the bus, and it may take some time to stabilize on the bus because of delays, and we have seen that in case of synchronous bus also. So after the delays have been compensated, what happens is once the address and command information stabilizes on the bus, master indicates that to all the slaves using a master ready signal. Okay, so suppose that the address and command get stabilized at this point in the bus, that is near t1. So master, what it does is it will give a master ready signal. And there is also another reason for the time delay between t1 and t0. Even though the master is generating address and command at t0, it is not until t1 that master readies or master gives a master ready signal. The other reason is that there is a phenomenon known as skew. Okay, so what is signal skew? So signal skew occurs when multiple signals are leaving from a single source. So in this case we have multiple signals, and those signals are address and command information as well as master ready signal. These two signals are actually leaving from the master. Okay, and we know that these signals will take different paths across the computer system and is supposed to reach different entities or different slaves. So suppose that there is a slave named A. Okay, and even though master has generated address and command at t0, and it has generated master ready at t1, what may happen is sometimes the address and command signal may actually lag behind the master ready generated at t1 in case of certain slaves. So for certain slaves like A or C or F, what may happen is the slave first sees the master ready signal, and then only it sees address and command signal, okay, that is generated by the master. So what happens is as soon as slave sees the master ready signal, it will read the address and command information on the bus, or it will confirm whatever information is on the bus, and it will accept it as a valid case. And in this case the slave is reading invalid data and the transaction is supposed to fail. So in order to eliminate such problems and to have a predictable timing of signals in each slave, what a master does is it might have already calculated the skews for various slaves, and it might have determined the maximum skew or the maximum duration which has to be given between address and master ready, so that once the address and command signal gets stabilized over all the slaves, then only master ready is perceived by the slaves. So that delay is actually the delay introduced between t1 and t0. So between t1 and t0 we have skew. Due to skew we have introduced a delay. Okay, so this delay between t1 and t0 was introduced to avoid the problem of skewing of signals. so that every slave has a uniform view of address and command signal before the master ready signal is ever triggered. Okay, suppose that we are at T1. Okay, we are considering the case at T1. So now what is the case? Now all the slaves have got address and command information put by the master, and all the slaves have started seeing the master ready too. Now once a slave has decoded the address from the master, and once it is ready with the data for the master, the slave will issue the slave ready signal. So it happens at T2. So not that there is no restriction that within T2 itself the slave has to put the slave ready signal. Okay, so that is the specialty of asynchronous bus, right? Each master as well as slave is decoupled or actually loosely coupled. They can determine when they should begin a transaction or when they should end a transaction. Okay, so here even the master ready signal is perceived at T1 by all the slaves. The particular slave that the master has chooses to respond only at T2. Okay, so the response is marked by slave ready signal, and the required data by the master is also generated at T2. And we know that it's an electronic connection, and electrical circuits actually take the signals between master and slave. So master won't immediately perceive the data or the slave ready signal generated by the slave. It may take some time, and maybe the time is the difference between T3 and T2. So by T3 the master sees the signal generated by the slave. So what happens at T3? The master will drop master ready or put master ready as 0 in order to signal the slave that it has received the data. Okay, so T3 the master has received the data and master ready signal is 0. Again there is a problem of skew here. So what happens here is, even though the master has put down master ready at T3, it is not until T4 that the address and command information is removed. Okay, so if you see here there is a certain delay introduced between the point where the master ready terminates and the point where the address and command signal actually varies, right? So at T4 only master chooses to remove address and command from the bus, but it had removed master ready already at T3. Okay, so this is again to compensate for skew, so that if by chance in any of the slave, if master ready was pulled down much before, or if address and command information was pulled down much before master ready, what happens is that slave will detect change in address and command information, so it may malfunction. Okay, so in every slave what should be ensured is the master ready should be first pulled down with the current address and command, and then only the current address and command should be changed to new address and command information. So that is made sure in this stage. Okay, so once the slave recognizes that the master ready has been put down, so maybe by T5 it will stop transmitting data and it will stop the slave ready signal also. Okay, so these are the major things that you can observe in case of input transaction. So in case of input transaction, you have to understand that there is a problem of skewing of signals over here and over here, and it is mainly dealt by the master. Okay, master will deal with the skewing problem. And how will it deal with the skewing problem? It will delay the master ready signal, or it will delay the address and command signal, so that every slave has got a uniform view. So between T1 and T0, address and command is made to stabilize over all the slaves, so that, and then only master ready is activated. And between T4 and T3, address and command information is kept stable till all the slaves gets the view that master ready is pulled down. Okay, so that is how skew is compensated by the master at two instances. Then if you see the case of the delay between T2 and T1, why the slave ready was not immediately triggered at T1? As we know, slave requires time, as well as requires time to decode the address as well as command, as well as it has to generate the required data, so that requires some time. So actually that time is taken up in T1 and T2. So if you see the case of T1 and T2, what actually happens is a delay had been introduced because the slave was not ready with data. Okay, then if you see the case of T3 and T2, right? So what happens in T3 and T2? The master didn't put away master ready, right? Or even though the data was available at T2 from the slave, it had not put down master ready at T3, and we know that that was mainly due to the electrical delay. And after that so this part, right, this part between slave ready and master ready going down is due to electrical delay. Okay, so these are the major things that you can see from this timing diagram. And now we will see the case of an output operation. Okay, so what is an output operation? An output operation is one in which the master generates the data to be returned to the slave, and slave is trying to read the data from the master. Okay, so again this is asynchronous mode. So once again address and command information is put by the master at T0 along with the data to be returned to the slave. Okay, and what happens, the master will let address and command information as well as data to stabilize across the bus, so that all the slaves get the uniform view of address and command as well as data to avoid the skew. So suppose that it takes until T1 for all the slaves to get a uniform view of address, command and data. Okay, so by T1 we assume that all the skew has been compensated. So T1 master gives the master ready signal so that the required slave can start the processing. Okay, so the master ready signal is triggered at T1. So once the master ready signal is perceived by the required slave, sometime between T2 and T1, it will start decoding the address as well as the command, and it will try to store the data generated by the master or data made available by the master in the bus. So maybe by T2 the slave has completed the data storing, or it has taken the data into its registers. So what happens is it needs to signal to the master that it has done the operation or of saving the data, right? So it generates a slave ready signal at T2. So at T2 what happens, at T2 again slave ready is generated, and there can be some electrical delay. So that electrical delay is compensated between T3 and T2, and it is not until T3 that master gets to know that slave has stopped the data it had generated on the bus. So at T3 master is going to put down the master ready, but not that it is not going to change data as well as address and command information until at time T4. Okay, in further down the timeline. Okay, so even though at T3 master is putting down master ready or indicating that operation is complete, in order to have the skew compensation, data as well as address is made to stay as long as T4. So once the master ready is down condition is received by all the slaves, what happens, or the required slave, what happens is the slave ready is put down. Okay, so here where and all can you see the skew compensation? Here the skew is compensated at this point, right? That is between T0 and T1 there is a skew compensation, then there is a skew compensation between T4 and T3. So the T0 T1 case was skew compensation when the data as well as address and command was first introduced into the bus, right, for stabilization so that all slaves can get a uniform view. But in case of T3 and T4, what was the skew compensation for? The skew compensation was for all the slaves to recognize that master ready is going down, and once it is down, data and command is allowed to change. Then if you see here, there are some electrical delay cases, right? So where are the electrical delay cases? So if you see here, even the master in this case, when the slave is ready, master won't perceive it until sometime T3, right? Even though slave is ready at T2, master won't perceive it till T3. So that is the case of a electrical delay. Okay, then we had a processing delay. So where can you see the processing delay? The processing delay was between T1 and T2, where master had raised a master ready and it was pursued by all the slaves between T2 and T1, and by T2 only the slave actually finished the processing, or it saved the data from the master. Okay, so this is the actual electrical delay. So this is all about the timing diagram representations of asynchronous input-output operation. So in case of asynchronous operation, generally what you should understand is the event management in data transfer is actually coordinated using master ready and slave ready signal. There is no fixed time slot for finishing events. Okay, the master's condition is indicated using master ready and slave's condition is indicated using slave ready, and master ready and slave ready also serves as a mechanism to check each other's liveliness, that is whether the entities are alive or not, or functioning or not. That is also another advantage of asynchronous communication or asynchronous bus protocol. And then if you see here, this master ready and slave ready signal are into each other, right? Or actually they are in stacked form. Okay, so this is actually a handshaking part. Okay, or this mechanism of using master ready and slave ready signal is known as handshake mechanism, in which if you see here, that is at T1 master will give it is ready, then by T2 slave will say that it is also ready. So master ready is followed by slave ready, indicating that master's command and address is received by slave in proper condition. So this is a good example of a handshake protocol. Okay, that is master's steps are actually followed by the slave, and that is indicated by signals from the two entities. Master is indicating a begin transaction signal and slave is actually following it using a slave ready. Here also you can see that, right? So master ready and slave ready signal actually acts as a handshake mechanism. Okay, so at the initiation stage, T1 T2 part actually shows you the handshake. Okay, T1 indicates master's begin transaction signal, and T2 indicates slaves I am ready signal. Okay, then what about T3 and T5? T3 indicates that master is aiming for end of transaction, and T5 indicates that slave has completed the transaction. Okay, similar is the case here. Our master is ending the transaction by T3, that is it has read the data from the slave, and the slave is going to take away its data from the bus by T5. Okay, so master's action is actually complemented by slave's action, or master signal is always complemented by slave signal. So this is a handshake mechanism.